What's going on? It's Flacco Aries you tuning into. Now look, I know I've been gone from the game for a couple of months now. Life keeps you busy, coronavirus and whatnot. But with the current lineup, oh by the way, I didn't get coronavirus, just in case you're wondering. But with the current change in driver lineups, I figured it'd be a good time for me to come back to give my thoughts and opinions about what's going on. So I'm gonna be segmenting these videos into each individual team. So there's probably gonna be about 10 teams, 10 videos or less, depending on if I want to piece videos together, if they're too short to talk about. But pretty much today's video is gonna be on Williams. I'm gonna be talking about Williams' new driver lineup and my predictions for what's gonna happen for this team in the coming year. So, of course, the biggest change, if you don't know by now, is that Williams signed Alex Albon, and Alex Albon was in contention for this seat. I think his biggest competitor was Mercedes-backed Nick de Vries. Now, Nick de Vries was a Formula E champion. Alex Albon was in DTM for a year. He was the reserve for Red Bull this year. So, I would say it was pretty much equal in terms of who Williams would consider. And so it comes down to who had the advantage for Williams. And if you see Williams, they don't have a competitive car, right? And there is nothing that is more lucrative than cash. And something that really stood out to me was that Alex Albon turns out has a very wealthy backed Thai investor. So his Thai investing, his Thai sponsorships are what I think was the biggest appeal to what Williams needed for a driver. Obviously, Alex Albon, he's capable of driving a car. You've seen his performance with Toro Rosso and then his sub-performance with Red Bull. But all in all, he can drive, he has some talent, and there's nothing that can go wrong with putting Alex Albon there. And to me, that's pretty much my biggest concern, being that Nick de Vries didn't get this seat because there was no backing. And in my opinion, Nick de Vries is currently like Esteban Ocon, He has talent, but he doesn't have that sponsorship appeal. He doesn't have financial backing. And so it's going to be up to Mercedes to be able to see if they're able to put him in Formula 1 or if they're going to put him elsewhere. But Alex Albon, that Thai investment, man, that was something that I did not expect, and it just stood out to me when they signed him. And that's obviously the most obvious, right? Lewis says cash is king. Obviously, if you have money, you're able to talk, you're able to convince other people that you're worthy of this seat. And another thing that I want to talk about is diversity, because if you look at Formula 1 right now, there's one driver that's black and every other driver is white. And Alex Albon will bring a face to the sport for diversity, obviously, because he's ethnically Asian. This will definitely give a PR appeal to what other teams might need. Williams more so because they don't have much race coverage. And I think that is certainly the case for Alex Albon. He has made his case. I didn't watch DTM. Like I said in my earlier videos, I'm not going to watch it because, let's be honest, I don't have the time. And if I do have the time, it's going to be towards watching Formula 1. So being that I follow his Instagram, congrats to him on winning DTM, his pole. It obviously shows. But what can we expect out of Alex Albon next year? And that is my biggest concern, because Alex does not do well under pressure. We have seen that at Red Bull. When he got that promotion, this guy caves, man. He cracks under pressure. He does not do well. And it takes a toll. It's detrimental to his self-esteem and to his confidence. Because when a driver doesn't dare to step on the gas, doesn't dare to, break parts, and to fundamentally learn more about the car that they're driving, they will hinder their progress, and that shows in the time that they're able to push on qualifying and on race day. So congrats to Alex. Him getting a seat, that's obviously something that he wanted, and it's going to be a confidence for him. But will he able to do well? In my opinion, yes, because Williams is not a competitive car right now. There's nothing that will keep him from not doing well. You really can't go further back from the back of the grid anyways. So good on him. He'll have a place to rebuild his foundation in Formula 1. And yeah, that's about it. So let's move on to Nicholas Latifi. Latifi, he's from Toronto. He's from the 6. I'm from the 6. We're both Toronto boys, but that doesn't mean that I loyally support him. Latifi, in my opinion, is subpar to say the least, and average, mediocre to say the best. He, in the past 2 years, we have not seen him outperform the car like George Russell has. And that's something that really sticks out to me, because George Russell clearly has much more talent than Nicholas Latifi. If you're able to send this car into Q3 and then do a miraculous performance on race day, get P10, That's like winning the gold medal. That's like getting P1 essentially for them. So Nicholas Latifi isn't able to do any of that. His talent is average, and to me that just means that this guy doesn't have the drive, or is pretty much mentally confirmed that he's not going to get a championship in this sport. So he's just here to collect a salary, and that's it. He has some talent, right? But he's just going to occupy one seat for the coming years. And that's really about Latifi, which is that his family has money. They have business that can sponsor the Williams team, which is again what they need right now, which is cash for car development and to pay their employees. But because of that, this guy just takes a salary, and he's comfortable living off that salary and his family's money for many years to come, for the foreseeable future. And he probably has something to back him off if he comes out of motorsports, right? He could go into his family's business, go into what his dad does, his family does, and that's exactly what doesn't give him a drive, which is that drive to succeed no matter what. And so looking at Latifi for next year, I would say he's probably going to be in the same spot as he is now. There's really not much I could predict for him, because he's just too ordinary. Now let's move on to the team in general. What are we going to expect out of Williams for next year, right? So obviously with this new money, with Latifi's money, with their biggest owner, Doralton Investments, they're coming off of trying to build up their car from the back markers into the middle of the pack. So I think for next year, of course, George already has the best performance that you could expect out of Williams, to be honest. Alex Albon is not going to succeed that. But I would say Alex Albon next year probably going to place around 12th to 18th. That's my expectations for him. And Nicholas Latifi, most definitely 15th and below. I definitely don't see him doing anything out of the ordinary that would succeed my expectations. So that would place Williams around the 8th spot that they're currently in right now. And they're really lucky because George got that P2 finish. So they're pretty much confirmed for P8 this year. Next year, I don't see them being part of the middle of the pack. I still see them as the back of the pack, and really that's going to be all about how Williams does the car development for this next year. But without all that money, with all that money that they've burned, and with all that is remaining for car development for next year, I really don't see them coming out of the hole that they've dug themselves into. So that's going to be the video for today. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Thanks again for watching this video. I'm going to be more consistent coming into the rest of this Formula 1 season, and then we're going to talk some more at the end of the off season as well. So I appreciate all of you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.